Welcome back to the Foundry by Forge College. Today, we're jumping right into our capstone build and demonstration, delivering a complete Solana development environment. If you've ever lost an entire weekend just trying to get a blockchain node running locally because of one tiny missing dependency, yeah, you intimately know the pain we're solving today. That dreaded "it works on my machine" syndrome, we're ending it right here. Think of this process like assembling a high-performance engine. We've spent the previous modules carefully machining all the individual parts, like applying version control integrations in the last lesson. And now, it's time for the final assembly to make this machine absolutely purr. Here's the engineering schematic for today's explainer. We'll start with the final assembly, outline the 3 pillars of success, and then move right into building the ultimate repo. After that, we'll look at AI as your co-pilot, run through the demonstration run, and finally wrap up with next stop Solana CLI. All right. Part 1, the final assembly, from scattered parts to a unified machine. Okay, let's dive into this. You can actually take a deep breath and relax because the really hard work of writing those raw scripts and setting up version control is already done. But right now, our project kind of looks like a totally disorganized workbench, right? We've got loose bolts, isolated setup files, and raw CLI scripts just rolling around the garage floor. And sure, the individual parts work, but managing them in this state, it's literally the developer equivalent of stepping on a Lego in the dark. It is chaotic and it's painful. So our goal today is the unified capstone repo. We're going to transform those scattered pieces into a beautiful, self-contained, machine-verifiable project. Just one single Git repository that you, a teammate, or an auditor can clone and run without a second of guesswork. Moving to Section 2, 3 pillars of success, defining the blueprint criteria. So, before we actually hit the factory floor to assemble this repository, we gotta know what a successful build actually looks like. What are our non-negotiables? Well, our ultimate success rests on 3 core criteria. Number 1, a reproducible local setup. That means your setup script has to install or verify all dependencies and exit with a 0. In engineering terms, an exit code of 0 means absolute perfection. No errors, no warnings. Number 2, automated CLI workflows. Things like starting your local validator, building the code, deploying, and smoke testing, they absolutely have to run deterministically. You push a button and it works exactly the same way every single time, whether it's Tuesday on a Mac or Thursday on Linux. And finally, number 3, a clear version control history. Your Git history isn't just a save point, it acts as executable documentation, ending with a perfectly clear capstone final tag that stamps the build as totally complete. Which brings us to Section 3, building the ultimate repo, wiring the scripts together. Now, what's really interesting here is how we head over to the assembly line to organize our files into a super precise directory structure. Every single file here has a highly specific purpose. It's literally the wiring of our environment. The setup script, that handles your platform-aware dependency verification. Then the CLI workflow script automates your Solana commands, so you don't have to desperately try to remember and type out those long string arguments manually. Then we have the verify script. This is your orchestrator, the master switch that runs all your environment, CLI, and version control checks in sequence. And finally, that N folder holds your pinned dependency files, like lock files or Docker files. Pinned files ensure that the exact environment you successfully built today is the exact same one someone else builds tomorrow. Everything just communicates perfectly, with 0 friction. Next up, Section 4, AI as your co-pilot, vibe coding the verification. So here at Forge College, we heavily encourage using AI as a sort of robotic assistant to speed up boilerplate work. It's a process we lovingly call vibe coding. Just look at this incredibly precise prompt. Generate a POSIX-compliant verify.sh that runs a setup script, starts Solana test-validator, prints env, pass, or fail. Now, by specifically asking for POSIX-compliant, we're just telling the AI to write a script that plays nicely with almost any operating system out there, keeping us safe from weird compatibility bugs. A precise prompt like this basically creates the ultimate quality assurance inspector for your code. You let the AI write the boring bash syntax while you focus on the actual architecture. You just take the AI's output, test it locally, fix any assumed paths, and boom. You've got a fully functioning orchestrator script built in record time. All right, Section 5, the demonstration run, turning the key. This is honestly the most exciting part of the whole process. We've built the machine, we've wired up the scripts, and now it's time to turn the key. If I'm reviewing your project or if a senior engineer is auditing your work, these are the exact steps we're taking. Step 1, I run your setup script to make sure the underlying dependencies are right. Step 2, I execute the CLI workflows to fire up the validator, build, and deploy the sample program. And Step 3, I inspect your Git history and tags. But check out the absolute magic of what we just built. Remember that verify script we just vibe coded? It actually runs all of these steps consecutively for me. It acts as a fully automated inspector, so I literally don't even have to lift a finger. And when I or anyone else runs that master orchestrator script, the terminal is going to start spitting out a whole lot of data. Text is just going to fly by as the validator boots up and the program compiles. But amidst all that code, I'm looking for exactly one thing, a single number. And that number is 3. I'm looking for exactly 3 beautiful lines of output at the very end, confirming your machine has passed its rigorous inspection. And there they are. ENV pass, CLI pass, VC pass. This right here is the canonical acceptance output. I know it might just look like simple text on a screen, but these 3 lines basically compress all the evidence that your environment is fully functional, completely reproducible, and perfectly documented. It means you've conquered the notoriously difficult setup phase of Web3 development. Seriously, if you run your script and see this on your terminal, you should be incredibly proud. Your machine is officially ready for the open road. Finally, Section 6. Next stop, Solana CLI. Moving forward. We've wrapped up the assembly, but a finely tuned engine isn't meant to just sit quietly in the garage. It's meant to be driven. So, I'll leave you with this exciting thought. Your reproducible dev environment is officially built, running, and verified. What on-chain magic are you going to deploy next? Keep this unified repository handy, because in the next module, we're going to use it as our working example to dive deep into driving this machine using actual Solana CLI commands. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. To keep building, expanding your Web3 toolkit, and tackling fascinating new subjects just like this, be sure to head over to forge.college. Keep experimenting, and I'll see you in the next one.